Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, and this is another edition of Championship Friday here on Jim Johnston Reviews the World. Today's subject, the Andre 86 by FanduBelts.com. This is one of the largest replica belts made of one of the largest belts ever made. So this is a replica of what's known as the Andre 86 belt, and so it's based off of a WWF World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship that was constructed in the late 85, early 86 time period. It was actually originally meant to become the permanent WWF World Championship, but it was marketed, because when they got it, it was so big, because it was made for the largest athlete of the world, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, but it was also meant to be worn by Hulk Hogan, who was also larger than life. So this belt's really big, really heavy, and the thing about it is, Andre won the world championship from Hulk Hogan. It's the now famous Twin Magic Saturday night's main event. The Winged Eagle belt was the belt he won at that time, and he promptly sold it, handed it over to Ted DiBiase, and then the belt was later vacated. Hilarity to me at this point in time, looking back at it, because if they did that now on WWE TV, the guy that bought the belt would be allowed to keep, And it's also a shame that poor Ted DiBiase never got a run as a world champion in any of the major companies, because he certainly had the talent for it. So that's enough about the real belt. So after all that falderall went on with the belt, it was never used on TV again. And then later, the side plates, the four side plates were actually removed, and the main plate of this belt on different leather was used in the WWF-produced No Holds Barred movie starring Hulk Hogan and Zeus, also known as Tiny Lester. Cult classic in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. So this belt, unfortunately, never really much saw the light of day. It is big. It is over 13 inches top to bottom this way, nearly 13 inches main plate sideways. No, I'm sorry, nearly 14 inches main plate sideways. Very large side plates, two on each side as you can see, and it does have a gold end cap we will show you later. This particular belt, this Fandu version, obviously doesn't have any company logos on it. They don't have permission for that, and so it's just they added a floral design on the top and then left the sides where it was blank. This belt, folks, I have to tell you, Fandu belts in general, some people love them, some people hate them. I love them. I think they're worth every penny. Pretty much every Fandu belt is in a price point that is lower than the standard replica belt class on WWEshop.com now. So while these are considered a bootleg belt, they are done with very high quality molding stamping, very thick plates. You can see, we'll show you more details, the flags on the sides coming off probably about 3 millimeters. So just the flags sticking up on this are thicker than the first several generations of replica championship belts produced by WWE through Figures Inc. Really until about the last half a dozen or so years is when they started producing belts more true to real life. So all in all, I'd say the thickest plate of these belts, which would be at the Eagles, if it was solid, it is hollow on the back, but if it was solid, it would probably be about 8 to 9, maybe even 10 millimeters thick. As you can see here, folks, I've actually had this belt over 2 years, and I've had this plastic on it the whole time. So I'm going to go ahead right now and rip that off. And here we see it. Look at those Eagles bling. Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, so let's take a little tour of the belt here. And honestly, folks, this thing had so much bling after having that piece of plastic on it for the last, right about 2 years I had this, because I bought this, well, never mind the story of what happened shortly after I bought this, but it's kicked around parts of the country with me over the last couple years. And so when I first pulled that off, it had so much bling that I actually thought the Eagles' eyes had stones in it. It does not on closer inspection. Boy, is there major details, especially in the Eagles' wings. And we'll get down to that here in a little while, but let's just give you a full tour of the belt real quick. Here is the 2x8 male snap side, the side plates. I always do these belt reviews on a pillow so that we can see the curvature of them. Here is the 2x8 female snap side with the very large and generous gold end cap. Beautiful, beautiful. This belt really is beautiful for a belt that was never used on primetime TV for any length of time. End cap. All right, here's a look at the back, and oh, wowie, does this thing have a ton of screws on the back of that main plate. That's not going anywhere. You're going to rip out this is a fake leather that this is mounted on. You're going to rip out that strap long before you're ever going to have any of the plate screws start to break like on some other belts. And also, when you order from Fandu, they do usually send you a couple extra of these screws with any belt you order from. So that is a ton of screws on that main plate. As you can see, both of the side plates on both sides also have 5 screws. And really, the only thing wrong with this is there's a little scuff right here, and that actually did happen in shipping from Fandu. And in all these, last couple of years that I've had this belt, not really else has happened to it. It hasn't yellowed much. There is a couple spots on the front of the strap, on the other side there of the female snap side, where there's a tinge of yellowing, and that's, I actually hang these snapped in a closet. So that is the part that gets the most exposure to dirt and such. And I could probably get that washed off with something a little stronger than the Windex that I had handy to clean this up. So here's another look at the back. And then we'll reset it up so we can get some footage for you of the plates and just how amazing and deep the 3D casting of these plates is. Alright, so let's take a look at the plates. You can see the thickness. I'd say that these plates, as represented here, are probably a little over 4 millimeters, maybe 4.5. And they are partially hollow, but not completely hollow. And just the details. Thick belt. And this sucker's heavy. It probably weighs 8, 9, maybe even 10 pounds. Always relatively funny. The classic 10 pounds of gold belt did not actually weigh 10 pounds or even close to it. But this belt in this variation does. And I'm guessing the real one made by Reggie Park probably weighed a good 15 pounds or so. All right, let's take a look at a little closer to some of the details. Look at those eagles. The way they pop off there, that globe. Look at that eagle. That heavyweight banner. Look at the details. Very well made belt. Very well made. So a lot of people say things about Fandu skipping this or skimping that, but my opinion, they do not skimp on the details. The little side plates. Look at the 3D effect and 3D etching on these side plates. The words, the actual United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Japan. Individual letters popping off those main plates a good 2 millimeters. That's impressive stamping to me. Especially at the price point. Again, the only thing that's comparable to Fandu belts is the latest, probably since 2017. Certainly in the 2020 versions of some of the WWE shop belts are of this quality. But I really feel it's because of Fandu putting out their small series of belts. They only have 4 designs, if I'm not mistaken. And it's because of the quality they put out. And the depth, the thickness of the plates, the depth of the etching, so to speak. It's actually stamped, not etched. I really feel that these Fandu belts, so there you can see the little spot of yellowing on it after 2 years. Golden end cap. Here's a little look at the underside of the end cap. And that's just a 1 millimeter on that side. And just a hair thicker on the other side. And really these plates, look at that depth. Beautiful. For a belt that was never used full time in any company, it is stunning and big and heavy. And as much as I love the classic WWE Winged Eagle, especially the dual-plated versions of it from this time period, or shortly after their time period. I think WWE missed the belt, so to speak, WWF, by not using this for a couple years. Especially when Hogan got the belt back, they could have gone to this. It might have been a little large for Macho Man, but definitely Hogan could have worn this. Would have looked pretty good on Undertaker, as skinny as he was in 1990. Probably would have been a little big for Warrior in between there, but yeah, it is stunning. And for the price, folks, I highly recommend you pick this up from Fandu Belts. belts. Good value for the price. Excellent construction. The only complaint I have is that the straps lack detail. Their straps, they should have tooling. Instead of being stitched together, they should be glued together. Then they should have tooling in the snap boxes and around the straps. So that's really the only thing. Slight, tiny little complaint, because again, these suckers under $300 for such great detail, but the straps are missing just a little something. I'm going to give this a 4. If I said 4.9, I mean 4.8. A star is lost because the strap could be a little bit better made, in my opinion. All right, folks, this has been the review of the Andre 86 by Fandu Belts. Again, I give it a 4.8 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend you pick it up. Occasionally, they do run some sales through their Facebook page, and you can pick it up at an even greater value if you can catch one of those. But even at full price, I recommend it. Big thumbs up. 2 thumbs up, I guess you'd say. I want to thank you for watching another episode of Championship Friday here on Jim Johnston Reviews the World. And if you like my stuff, go ahead, comment below, press that like button. That'll help us out with the analytics. Subscribe and share this with your friends and family to help me grow the worldwide audience. Until next time here on Jim Johnston Reviews the World, from me to you, I just want to say, be weird, be free, and most importantly, be independent.